Hello, dear viewer. It's been a good minute since I've posted a proper video, but I'm back, and I am sorry it took a minute. Although, I guess it hasn't been too long, so that's good. I've been dealing with a lot of art block and general non-motivation. There's a better word for it. But I just haven't really felt up for it lately. It's sad. I finally have the time, but I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? Oh, right, video. And then it just ends up not happening. But I have finally got myself in front of the microphone, I got my speed paint, and now I'm finally gonna be posting, because god darn. I've had the speed paint ready for like, a week? I think more than that. And I just needed to record the vocals. That was it. I just needed to record the voiceover while the line art and coloring is going, and I just couldn't get myself to sit in front of the microphone. But in order to do my speed paints, I have to delete Genshin off my tablet, so that's been a motivator to finally record so I can post the video, so I can delete the, footage and stuff, so I can re-download Genshin. Especially since there's a new update out, and I really want to play it, but I can't because I don't have it at the moment. I'm recording the day after July 5th, and this will probably go up the next day, so this will probably be on, July 6th. Yesterday, on, the 4th, my family didn't get any fireworks because, money and economy, and unfortunately a lot of fireworks lately have been really lame. They don't last as long, they're not as bright, so, we were just, no. So we didn't get any, and, but, last year, we also didn't get any, but we went out and, watched other people's fireworks, essentially, because, people always send up those big, I'm pretty sure illegal ones, that have the big boom, and, they, spray across the sky. So we went out and we watched those. We caught a few, quite a few, not as many as I'd liked, but, still pretty. It was crazy because some of them literally flashbanged us and made the biggest boom ever. And it's like, oh my god, it is so small, but it is so loud. Why are you like that? I can't tell if those are duds or if they're meant to do that. I don't know why you'd want them to do that, but I don't know. There's also a sticking firework that sounds like it's dying, so, maybe it is meant to do that. I don't know. If you guys know, tell me below, because I don't know. But where we were watching from, it was a school area, because we were gonna go onto the campus and watch it from there. That way we can, run around and, spot them, because it's a clearer area. But they closed it off because the year prior, people were setting off fireworks on the campus. So the door was closed. So we couldn't go onto the campus and actually watch the fireworks. So we were just kind of at the front and watching from there. But there was a little, side gate, and that, me and, part of my family slipped through because, not all my family could. And also, it would be kind of difficult for some... Oh my god, I can't English. Basically, there's a little side gate that led to a part of field that was having sprinklers go off. So, we, me and my dad, approached because he was like, hey, you want to get into the, go past the sprinklers? And I was like, hell yeah! So we, kind of, scooched ourselves through there, and I ran past well, I was gonna run past, but the sprinklers had already been going off for 5 minutes, and it was already starting to get kind of like swampy, or like, not muggy, boggy, there we go. And, so I couldn't safely run, so I was like, you know what, I'll just walk. So I did, and I walked, and, I walked through them, and then I walked back, and then I was like, nice. And then I went back to my sister and my mom, and then my sister was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it too. And I was like, sweet, I'm gonna do it again. So we went, and then my sister got scared because it was cold, which is fair, but like I thought it felt really nice, so I was like, okay. So I just went again by myself, but I was like, oh yeah, that's the last time I'm gonna be able to do that, because my shoes were getting wet. And not because the sprinklers, because the first time I went through them, my shoes didn't really get wet because I was careful, but the second time it was because the bog was extending, it was getting high, and I was like, oh no. And I knew that if I went again, I was going to trip, so I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. That was my last time. And it was at night, obviously, because that's the best time to watch fireworks. So I was like, if I get a cold because I'm wet at night, it's worth it. I have sneezed and coughed a few times today, but I think I'm fine. It was funny because, one time when I was editing one of these speed paint videos, I was listening to it to see how, if it like overall flowed well, and I was listening to it, chilling, and then it literally put me to sleep. My own speed paint put me to sleep. That's not what they're intended for. They're meant to be entertaining and interesting to listen to while you do something else. But, I mean, I guess they could also work as a sleep aid, so feel free to do that if you want. I just thought it was really funny because it's like, oh, wow. But it was crazy. I guess they have two uses. But I guess that makes sense. Sometimes, like, just listening to someone else talk is methodical, and just, it's nice to have, and, fall asleep. I fall asleep to all sorts of videos. I've fallen asleep to game theory, which is hilarious because it's always a FNAF theory. I've fallen asleep to, like, Reddit videos, just general, like, a lot of talking kind of videos. Which is funny, because then I try and listen to actual ASMRs to go to sleep, and I can't sleep. I end up staying awake. I mean, I usually get sleepy by the end, and then I take out my headphones, and I'm like, okay, I can sleep. But I hear about people falling asleep during the audios, and I'm like, I can't. I can't. I don't know. I try, and I don't. It's funny. It's like the thing meant to help you sleep? Nah. The thing that's meant to be entertaining and for you to just watch while you do something else? Yes. But I mean, whatever works, I guess. A while back, my family got a pineapple. I can't remember what season it was. It might have been, I don't know, it was a while ago. And we got a pineapple. And, pineapple tasted good. So I ate a piece, and I was like, nice. So I went back and got another piece, and I was like, nice. And then I was like, wait, why does my tongue hurt? And I looked it up, and it can burn your tongue. I didn't know that. I never experienced that because I hadn't really eaten a lot of, like, raw pineapple in my life. Most of the time when I eat it, it's on pizza. I know not everybody likes it on pizza. I'm just saying that's when I've eaten it. And, and I learned part of that reason why I haven't, like, experienced it, aside from, like, on pizza, is, like, because cooking the pineapple destroys, or, like, yeah, I guess destroys the protein that does that. It literally, like, kind of, like, dissolves some of your tongue, I think, because, like, the way the proteins work. And that's what makes it, like, hurt and, like, kind of burn. And I was like, oh, Oh. So yeah, if you don't want to burn your tongue and you really like pineapple, it's probably best to heat it up a little before you eat it. But I didn't eat a little bit of it either. They were like 2 decently sized chunks, and I ate the first one. I'm like, my tongue feels weird. Ate the second one. I'm like, my tongue hurts. But I mean, it was tasty. Would I do it again? Maybe. I don't know. It depends. If that's the only way I could eat pineapple ever again, I'd probably do it again. But like, period, I'd probably stop myself before I got to that point again because it hurt. I did not have a good time that day. It sucks because I like baking. Or I want to like baking. I like the premise of baking. But then I try and I'm not very good at it. I tried making a homemade cake once. And it didn't go bad, but it didn't go good. I stuck with, like, the basics of what I knew. So, like, I think it was, like, maybe 2 cups of flour, a cup of sugar. There was some vanilla extract in there. There were, I think, maybe 2 eggs. I don't think I added any butter. But, I think I put some baking powder. I can't remember if it was baking powder or baking soda. But, I know one of those is not for cakes. I always get them mixed up, but, I think baking powder is for, like, baked goods, and then baking soda is for something else. I know, so informative. Something else. But, and it didn't come out bad, but it wasn't good either. It didn't have a lot of flavor, so I don't think I put enough vanilla extract. It was really flat, so I didn't put enough of either baking soda / baking powder. It had a lot of bubbles, so I probably didn't add enough of, or I put too much of something. 'Cause I did put water / I think oil. I can't remember which one. It might have been both. I'm not quite sure. I think it should be both. I can't recall. But, yeah, it wasn't the worst thing ever made, but there were some odd flour deposits, so I know I messed up big. I would like to try again sometime, but at the same time, I feel so bad about messing up things like that, because then I feel like I wasted materials. So I am, like, almost constantly afraid of trying to cook anything new, because I'm like, oh my god, what if I mess it up? And then there goes the food, just straight into the trash, because, oh my god, you can't eat that, that tastes gross. And then I'd feel bad. That is why you will mostly find me scramble eggs, because I know I can make eggs. And ramen. You can find me making ramen. And I don't mean homemade ramen, I mean top ramen. But I make it good. God. I want to learn to cook more things on my own without questioning if I'm doing it right all the time. Because I know how to make things, theoretically. I just don't do it myself because I'm scared. Like, I know how to make enchiladas, red rice, rice-a-roni, as well as hamburger helper, like, things like that. I know how to make those things. But I'm scared of trying myself because I feel like somehow, some way, I'm gonna mess it up, and then it'll be inedible, and there goes dinner. Which I need to get out of my head. That's not good. I need to do that. But back onto the baking scene. And recently, or not recently, but like not too long ago, that fear got like almost reinforced because there was a box brownie. And normally, my sister makes those because she makes them really good. And I'm like, yeah, you do it. And I say she makes them really good because she doesn't look at the box. She just puts the amounts that like seem right to her. And then they always come out like really nice and fudgy. Which doesn't happen when you follow the exact like things on the box. But I wanted brownies and they were just sitting on the counter. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. So I grabbed the box and I was like, I'll just follow the instructions. It's no big deal. They won't come out the same, but they'll still be yummy. So I got my stuff. I got the oil. I got, I think, the eggs. and the water. And I was like, here we go, this will be great. And then I'll throw them in and I'll have been successful at something. Baking wise. And, so I grab the stuff and I, put them in the bowl, mix it around, and I'm like, why is it so liquidy? Huh. I'm sure it's fine. Maybe there's just a deposit here that I haven't mixed in quite yet, and that's why it's liquidy. I'll just keep mixing. So I did, and I kept mixing, trying to find any powder deposits that I'd missed. There weren't any. It was like that because I think I put too much oil. It was oil or water, and I was like, oh no. When I reread the box, because I was like, I made a mistake, didn't I? Realizing how liquidy it was, so I read the box, and I was like, I put way too much of X amount. Oh no. My sister was there, and she was like, I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll probably bake out. It's fine. And I'm like, no, it's not. And she's like, it'll be fine. So we put it in the cake pan, and we put it in the oven, set the timer, all that jazz, waited for them to be done. They smelled good. Because they were semi-burnt, kind of, sort of, because there was too much of X ingredient. I think it was water. And so we take them out, and the top is kind of cooked. The bottom was soup. And I was like, these aren't edible. And my sister was like, it's okay, you made a mistake. And I was like, I messed up. I felt so bad. I think we had another box. So she was like, I'll just make the other box. It's fine. Because originally, she was saying, like, we'll just eat these. And I'm like, no, I don't think they're safe. So we threw them away because they didn't cook properly. There was way too much of X ingredient, and it just, I didn't want to even try. So we threw those away, and she was like, it's okay. There's another box. I'll make those. And I was just like, yeah, I felt so bad. And that always happens when I make the brownies. Always. And it's always the brownies. I can make a box cake, and it turns out perfectly fine. I almost never mess those up. I don't think I've ever messed up a box cake. But I almost always mess up the brownies. Something about them. I don't know. The brownies are cursed for me, I guess. It's crazy. Genshin lately, or not lately, but semi-recently, not too long ago, got Dormon Port, and I was so happy, because for the longest time, I'd wanted it, because it kept being mentioned in game, and I was excited, and I was like, it's gotta come to the game, it's gotta be coming soon, come on, they keep mentioning it, why isn't it here? And, then it got added, and I was so excited. But not only was I excited because I wanted Dormon Port, but I, for whatever reason, I don't know, copium, I believed that when we got Dormon Port, we'd get one of my favorite characters' second story quest. And, I was, like, so firmly believing, like, we'll get it then. It's gotta be then. I don't know when else it could be. We did not get it. But I was like, okay, maybe next update. We did not get it. And we still haven't gotten it. And I don't think we will until, like, closer to the middle of the current... Oh, sorry, I got the air. The middle of the current nation we're in, / ending. Like, I don't think we're gonna be getting it until, like, further down the line. And I'm like, oh, God, please. Give me my Bard boy. I want... the lore, please. But aside from that, I'd been wanting Dormon Port for a while, and before Dormon Port got dropped, I had a short planned about me being, like, so fixated on the dropping of Dormon Port that I had a short written about me being, like, super ecstatic at the mere mention of its name. But then it dropped, and I was like, I can't post it. Granted, I never made it. But I had the script. I still have the script. But I never made it because procrastination. As well as I kept trying to get, like, a screen grab of when... Or, like, a screenshot of a mention of Dormonport. That way I could have that as, like, a little, like, thing in the short. But, because I didn't, oh my gosh, I kept forgetting to get it when people would mention it, and then I was like, damn. So, yeah. So yeah, it never got made, and then after it dropped, I felt like I couldn't make it now, so I was like, okay, well, that short's never seen the light of day. But, yeah. It sucks because I got spoiled about roughly when it would release before it had dropped because of leakers. People always say to just avoid the leaks. And it's not just for Genshin, it's for other stuff too. But notoriously with Genshin, people will just say, well, just ignore the leaks. They're helpful for other people. And it's like, but you can't avoid the leaks. I've tried desperately. I don't even interact with leaks. But just because I interact with Genshin, the official account, I don't really interact with anything else Genshin, I get leakers in my feed. And I'm constantly getting leaked for idols and gameplay and characters. And it's like, oh my god. I always tell it to go away because I don't want to know that. I don't want leaks in my feed. Because I want to be surprised. I always get them in my feed. I can't even go to the official Genshin account sometimes. Not because Genshin themselves are spoiling things, but because there's a, like, say there's a new character drop and there's a teaser for, like, their character, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. If I go to the comments, I can't do that anymore, because then people are talking about their kit already. I don't want to know. I want to figure it out once they drop. So yeah, you can't find leaks anymore. But yeah, leaks have become so hard to not ignore, to avoid, and it sucks when people just kind of ignore that in the Genshin community. It's like, just ignore it, or like, just don't interact with them. It's like, I've tried. I'm not even interacting with them, but they're flooding my feed anyway, just because I'm associated with Genshin, and this just happens to be about Genshin. I don't want to know about who's coming up, who's gonna be playable, what their kit's gonna be, what the upcoming story is gonna be, for obvious reasons. The story. I don't want the story spoiled. Thank you very much. I don't want to know when my favorite character is getting his second story quest. I want it to be a surprise. I don't want it to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know until Genshin wants me to know. And it sucks. Ugh. But this is the Genshin community. I'm so sorry if you're not a Genshin fan. You're just hearing me rant about something you have no idea what I'm talking about. But I hope it's entertaining. Despite possibly not knowing about it. But it looks like we're starting to come close to the end here. I'm not closing out quite yet, but if you're wondering who the characters are in this speed paint and why they look so much like my persona, it's because there's like you might not know, but if you heard of Thomas Sanders and Sandersides, that's kind of what they are. And if you haven't, I'll do a little rundown, which is they are personifications of parts of myself, such as like logic, emotion, things like that. I have almost a pretty much a story for them and everything. So if you're curious about them, let me know, and I will gladly make a video about them. I also have my own OCs, so if you're curious about them, I will make a video about them, because I love them very much. And you're honestly probably going to see more of them in these speed paints, because trying to come up with ambiguous art pieces to record for these is difficult, since I always wanted draw my characters, and I don't want all of my speed paints to either be of my persona or of just a random background. slash random person. So, you know, you're probably gonna see more of like these characters, in which I call my segments, and then my OCs, which are have their own story. So if you're curious about that, I will gladly make a video about that. Maybe when I do a speed paint, I can talk about the lore. But so, like, if you're curious and you want a video about that, oh my gosh, I'd appreciate you letting me know, because I always worry about like talking about stuff that might not interest people. So yeah. So that's what these guys are. They're representations of like parts of me, and that's why they look like my persona to a degree. Aside from like the difference in like face shape, they're circles instead of like my normal, more anime like style faces. I grew up with anime and I love anime, so my style very much grabs from it. Pretty much all of my inspirations are anime. I think there's like a few that are like more cartoon swayed, but for the most part, it's very like anime inspired, which is pretty obvious, I feel. But yeah. My voice has definitely gotten more endurant, because before, when I'd be near the end of one of these, my throat would be dying, and I'd be like, oh, I'm so glad I'm near the end of the recording right now, because my throat wants to not work anymore. But now, I pretty much feel normal. But we're coming up on, like, the very end. We got, like, a few seconds left. So, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Comment if you have anything to say, and bye-bye! I hope you have a wonderful day.